As the sun rises over North America's heartlands, it reveals a tale of two agricultures. South of the border, American farmers face falling incomes, high costs, and political uncertainty, making it harder than ever to keep family farms afloat. In contrast, Canadian agriculture is booming thanks to stable policies, strong export markets, and a predictable economic climate. This isn't just luck. Policy choices have set these nations on divergent paths. The fortunes of farmers in Iowa or Saskatchewan ripple out to affect food prices and security for all of us. In the coming sections, we'll break down the forces behind this growing divide and what it means for the future of North American food. Across the heartland, American farmers are staring down a financial cliff, one that threatens not just their livelihoods, but the very fabric of rural communities. For generations, farming has been the backbone of the nation, but today, that legacy is under siege from all sides. Net farm income is projected to drop by as much as 35% by 2025, a staggering decline that could reshape the agricultural landscape for years to come. Cash receipts for staple crops like corn and soybeans have plummeted, leaving many farmers with little to show for a year's worth of backbreaking work. Fields that once promised abundance now yield only uncertainty. At the same time, the costs of running a farm, fertilizer, labor, machinery, have remained stubbornly high, eating away at already razor-thin margins. Every season, farmers are forced to gamble more just to keep their operations afloat. Labor costs, especially for H2. visa workers who are essential to many farms have soared nearly 40% since 2016. For many, finding and affording reliable help has become a daily struggle. Rising interest rates have pushed farm borrowing costs up over 40%, making it harder for farmers to invest in new equipment, upgrade technology, or even cover basic expenses. Access to credit, once a lifeline, now feels like a trap. The result? In many regions, it now costs more to grow a bushel of corn than it sells for. Farmers are caught in a cycle where every harvest brings more debt, not more hope. Temporary government aid offers only short-term relief, providing a brief lifeline but failing to address the deeper, systemic problems plaguing the market. Many worry that these stopgap measures are simply delaying the inevitable. This toxic mix of low prices, high costs, and expensive credit is pushing a generation of American farmers to the brink. Families who have worked the land for decades now face impossible choices: sell, downsize, or risk losing everything. The crisis is real, and the future of many family farms hangs in the balance. If this perfect storm continues, the landscape of American agriculture may be changed forever, with consequences that reach far beyond the fields. While U.S. farmers struggle, Canadian agriculture enjoys rare stability. Predictable, well-funded government programs like Agri-Stability and Agri-Invest help farmers manage income drops and invest for the future. Canada's diverse export markets and strategic trade agreements insulate its farmers from global shocks. As the world's top potash producer, Canada also controls a key agricultural input, adding to its sector's resilience. The result? Canadian agriculture is thriving, offering a model of success in a turbulent world. In the U.S., political gridlock is compounding farmers' woes. The failure to pass a new farm bill leaves outdated policies in place, unable to address today's high costs and low prices. Partisan battles over nutrition and climate funding have stalled progress, leaving farmers in limbo. Outdated safety nets and reference prices offer little real protection, especially for young and beginning farmers. This uncertainty makes it hard to secure loans or plan for the future. Without legislative action, confidence in American agriculture erodes further. The cost of policy paralysis is measured in lost farms and fading rural communities. Canada's agricultural support system stands in stark contrast to the U.S. federal and provincial governments collaborate on programs like Agri-Stability and Agri-Invest, reviewed regularly to stay relevant. These programs provide both a safety net for catastrophic losses and tools for farmers to manage smaller risks and invest in their businesses. This policy stability gives Canadian farmers the confidence to plan, invest, and innovate. It also strengthens Canada's position in global trade as buyers see Canadian agriculture as reliable and resilient. For Canadian farmers, government support is a business partnership, not a handout. While U.S. farmers face uncertainty, Canadians are building for the future. Rising farmland values are a rare bright spot for both American and Canadian farmers. offering a sense of security in an industry often marked by uncertainty. For many, the increasing worth of their land is more than just a number. It's a lifeline, a source of pride, and a crucial part of their family legacy. As land prices climb, farmers see their hard work reflected in the value of the soil beneath their feet. In the U.S., land values have climbed 5% in 2024, providing crucial collateral for loans and a buffer against tough times. This appreciation allows established farmers to access credit, invest in new equipment, and weather unpredictable markets. Banks are more willing to lend when land values are high, giving producers the financial flexibility they need to adapt and grow. This asset strength has prevented a repeat of the 1980s farm crisis, when collapsing land values triggered mass foreclosures. Back then, families lost generations-old farms almost overnight, and rural communities were left reeling. Today, strong land values act as a safety net, helping to keep many operations afloat even when commodity prices dip or input costs soar. But for young and aspiring farmers, high land prices are a major barrier to entry, making ownership nearly impossible. The dream of starting a farm or expanding an existing one is slipping out of reach for many, as the cost of land far outpaces what most can afford. This leaves the next generation of farmers facing daunting odds, often forced to put their ambitions on hold or seek alternative paths. Tenant farmers also feel the squeeze as rising land values drive up rental rates and operating costs. Many are caught in a cycle where they work the land but see little long-term benefit, with profits increasingly going to landlords rather than those who till the soil. This dynamic can make it difficult for tenant farmers to build equity or plan for the future. The result is a widening gap between established landowners and those trying to break in. Wealth and opportunity are becoming concentrated in fewer hands while newcomers struggle to find a foothold. This growing divide threatens the social fabric of rural communities and the long-term sustainability of agriculture itself. While land equity keeps many afloat, it also threatens the future diversity and accessibility of farming. If only those with deep pockets can afford to buy or rent land, the industry risks losing the fresh ideas, energy, and innovation that new entrants bring. The landscape of agriculture could become less dynamic and less resilient. The industry risks becoming closed to all but the already wealthy, raising urgent questions about who will farm the land in the decades to come, and what kind of future rural communities will inherit. Trade policy turmoil is adding to American farmers' headaches. The threat of new tariffs on Canadian and Mexican agricultural inputs, especially potash, has created deep uncertainty. The U.S. imports 80% of its potash from Canada. A 25% tariff would devastate crop margins. Canada, meanwhile, holds a strategic advantage as a stable supplier of both inputs and exports. While the U.S. lurches from one trade dispute to another, Canada builds global partnerships and secures new markets. This instability makes it nearly impossible for American farmers to plan ahead. The potash predicament shows how political decisions far from the farm can have immediate, painful consequences. Canada's steady hand in trade is paying off while U.S. farmers bear the cost of policy whiplash. For many farmers and rural communities, today's farm crisis feels eerily familiar, echoing the turmoil of the 1980s. Back then, families faced high inflation, soaring interest rates, and collapsing commodity prices, forces that pushed thousands off their land and left entire towns reeling. Now, decades later, similar warning signs are flashing across the countryside. Farmers are once again grappling with rising costs, unpredictable markets, and the constant fear that history could repeat itself. In the 1980s, plummeting land values triggered a wave of bankruptcies and forced auctions, devastating families and communities. Today, strong land prices are acting as a crucial buffer, helping many farmers stay afloat even as profits shrink. But this safety net is fragile. If land values drop, the consequences could be severe. Despite the lessons of the past, the safety net for farmers remains inadequate. Political gridlock and slow-moving reforms are leaving many exposed to the same risks that haunted previous generations. Farmers are calling for action, but too often, their voices are drowned out by partisan debates and bureaucratic delays. The difference now is that land equity is delaying a full-blown crisis, but it can't prop up unprofitable farms forever. Many are relying on borrowed time, hoping for better prices or relief that may never come. Interest rates, while not as high as in the 1980s, are still inflicting real pain. Every uptick means higher loan payments, tighter margins, and more sleepless nights for farm families already stretched thin. The warning signs are clear. Without meaningful policy reform and targeted support, today's temporary shield could fail. If that happens, we could see another wave of farm closures, lost livelihoods, and rural communities pushed to the brink. The agricultural economy is cyclical and vulnerable, shaped by forces beyond any one farmer's control. Weather, global markets, and government policy all play a role in determining who survives and who doesn't. The past is a warning. Action is needed before history repeats itself. If we fail to learn from the lessons of the 1980s, we risk condemning another generation to the same hardships. The time to act is now. The diverging fortunes of U.S. and Canadian agriculture will shape the continent's food future. In the U.S., ongoing crisis could accelerate farm consolidation, hollowing out rural communities and concentrating power in fewer hands. Consumers may see more price volatility and eventually higher food costs as instability ripples through the supply chain. Canada's stable, export-focused sector is poised to fill gaps, potentially shifting the balance of agricultural power northward. The U.S. risks becoming more dependent on Canadian food, reversing historical roles. The lesson is clear sound. Forward-looking policy is essential for resilience. Canada's collaborative, predictable approach offers a blueprint for success. The future of North American food security depends on whether the U.S. can learn from its neighbor and its own past to rebuild a thriving farm sector.